Alright, going to take a look at some antonym questions here and take you through some strategies for solving these. So the word agitate is most opposite, so make sure you always read the question very carefully. Alright, so agitate means to start something in a bad way, to sort of irritate or arouse. So it's a verb, so it can't be brave, right? You can eliminate brave straight away, even if you didn't know the meaning, because I guess brave can be used as a verb as well. You have to brave the elements. Yeah, maybe you can't eliminate that on that basis. That's a good example of the vagaries of language, that a lot of words can be used in different contexts. All right, but the opposite is calm, the verb form of calm, to calm someone down. All right, you agitate someone, you excite them, you make them nervous. When you calm them down, you pacify them. Alright, 88, the word random is most opposite in meaning to, so this might be a tricky one for a lot of students who don't know what orchestrated means, right? They might think that it's to do with music from an orchestra. But to orchestrate something is to again use a sort of a musical term, conduct, alright? It's to organize, basically. So the opposite of random is orchestrated. Right, the word candid is most opposite in meaning too. So candid means honest, right? It's an adjective. The noun form is candor. So we can go straight to dishonest as the opposite of candid. Right, the word corrupt is most opposite. Right, again, corrupt could be a verb or an adjective. Right, so most opposite. It's bad is too broad to be corrupt. Alright, corrupt's a lot more specific than bad. It certainly has a negative connotation. Alright, so corrupt would be very similar to immoral, alright, to not have integrity. So that could lead us to the answer. If we're smart enough to see immoral as a synonym, we would know ethical is an antonym, because moral and ethical are synonyms. The word democracy is most opposite in meaning. So but students would have to know that democracy, well, let's say first of all, it's a noun, so we can get rid of public, because public is an adjective. Although again, you could say the public, I guess, but yeah, it tends to be used in adjective form mainly. Right, autonomy is acting on your own. It's really got nothing to do with privacy, it just has the same suffix, so the opposite will be tyranny. Right, tyranny is when a tyrant leads, when you have a complete ruler or dictator. Right, the word sullen. Sullen means sad, basically, or depressed. So it's a negative word. So the emotional is just too vague, not specific enough. The opposite is delighted, sullen, delighted. Right, the word notorious, again, might be a difficult word for a lot of students. The synonym there is infamous, right, which is sort of the opposite of famous. It's being famous for a bad reason, which is what notorious means. So reputable means you have a good reputation, right? It can only be used in a good context, so the opposite is reputable. Right, the word apathy, this one often tricks students. When I give them the adjective form apathetic, they often think it'll be the opposite of pathetic, right? So it must mean it's really good, but it doesn't have anything to do with that, right? Apathy actually means indifference. That's a synonym, right? It means you don't have any feeling towards something, right? So happiness doesn't really relate because it's a specific feeling. So this one's actually an interesting one because when I looked at this before I attempted the questions, and I think the opposite should be feeling, all right? Because apathy is a lack of feeling, a lack of care. But sympathy being so closely related to the word, and I just thought, I'm not sure about this one, right? So I looked it up on a dictionary site, thesaurus.com, and you'll see antonyms for apathy. Feeling is there, and sympathy is there. So I'd certainly think feeling is the better. But then they have warmth there as well, which means that Happiness and warmth would be very similar. So I think this is quite a bad question, alright? Like in my own usage of the word, I would go for these ones that are a little bit more neutral. Interest, right? You show an interest in something, care, concern, feeling, passion, possibly positive. So I still think feeling is the best one there, but be aware that if they're saying sympathy is also an antonym, that is not a very good question, and just goes to show that, well, I guess they do say most opposite, right? So I would definitely answer feeling, but I don't think it's a good sign to have two antonyms there, or possibly even three if you want to count happiness. All right, the word dissent. Now this is another interesting choice because this word assent, if you use the homophone of it, assent, spelled A-S-S-E-N-T, that means to agree, basically, right? This assent means to climb, to climb a mountain, to ascend, right? To make an ascent, a climb. So it's not that one. So the synonym here is disagreement. That'll mean, and demur means to object. So the opposite, most opposite, is conformity. All right. So yeah, be very wary of homophones and words that are very similar. That one's been put there to trick many students. All right. The word portable. Okay. So portable means it can be carried about. So it is mobile. It is transportable. Convey means to move. So conveyable. So it's irremovable is the opposite there. Poised is most opposite. So poised means you're calm and collected. So tranquil is a synonym. Unperturbed is a synonym. Compose is a verb, so it can't be composed. So the answer is flustered. All right, when you're flustered, you're upset about something. All right, this one's pretty easy. Formal. Alright, the obvious opposite would be informal, but informal also means casual. Most children should know that one, I think. Right, fickle. Fickle means changing your mind all of the time. So volatile is a synonym, and changing is a synonym. Fitful, yeah, I guess that's almost a synonym. Unwavering. Alright, if you are wavering, it'd be a synonym. So unwavering means you don't change, you don't waver. That's the antonym for fickle. And vindictive, right, is an interesting word. That means you want to get revenge, basically. So resentful is a synonym. Now, yeah, it's an interesting one again, because it can't be harmony, because harmony is a noun. Caring is sort of, a caring person wouldn't be vindictive, but the most opposite word is forgiving. Right, because if you're willing to forgive rather than holding a grudge, so the antonym is forgiving. All right, so I particularly want to draw attention again to that word apathy and sympathy and feeling, because yeah, I think there's every chance these sort of questions will pop up a lot in materials that students undertake in this area, in vocabulary. And it's very important they discuss the difference in connotation and the difference in context, because I really do think the answer should be feeling, but it's I looked at the answers for these materials actually, and they said it was sympathy. So you're always bound to have problems like that when the absolute nuance of the word isn't looked to.